if I was a betting girl, which I'm not, but if I was a betting girl in Vegas, I would bet that every single entrepreneur who's listening to me today has an area of your business that just causes you a lot of anxiety. It causes you a lot of pressure. You feel like you can't get away from it. Hey friends, it's Jennifer. Welcome back to the Jennifer Allwood Show. I'm not sure where I'm going to head with this conversation on this particular podcast. I just feel like I'm supposed to maybe share with you something that I experienced last week here at work. And my hope is always that like there's something that someone will hear that's just, it's going to shift something slightly. It's going to shift something in your personal life, which leads to freedom. It's going to shift something in your business that leads to more income, that leads to more impact. That's always my hope, is that that there are seeds that perhaps I will plant, that even if they don't, have a harvest now, that years down the road, you would maybe remember something that I said, not because I'm super smart, but just because the Lord's so good like that. And you'll be able to get something from it, even down the road. If you are watching on YouTube and you're wondering what my hair is doing, me too. Me too. It is very rainy in Kansas City today. So this morning my hair was nice and straight with some, we'll call them beach waves. Today it is like, what is it this afternoon? We just have a humidity. Humidity is a whole thing when you have naturally curly hair. So I don't know what it's doing either. We're just going to go with it. Okay. So let me just give you my story of last week. It's not even a huge story really, but there's something that someone is going to extract from me sharing this that's going to be beneficial. So that's why I'm sharing. Okay. So last week, I took our now 10-year-old daughter, Ariana, our little adopted girl, the fourth one, to Florida on vacation. I was turning 53. She was turning 10. Yes, I know the math is mathing, and I know that I'll be approximately 500 years old when she graduates high school, and just, it is what it is. So while I was doing that, Jason, my husband of, 27 almost years, only 25 of them, probably happy. We always joke about that. But anyway, he was in Mexico City with Ava, on a mission trip. I took Ava on that mission trip last year. I also took Noah on that same mission trip years ago. So he really wanted to go. He has not been on a mission trip. That was his first time. It was exceptional. They had a great time doing that. So I went to Florida with Ari. Both of our boys are adults now. One just got engaged. One's working full time. So they were doing their thing. So it was Ari and I ended up asking a couple of girlfriends. Quick shout out to Carrie Rabina, who I just love so much, who's just kicking it right now on Instagram. Her account's called Live with Carrie. And Carrie spelled Carrie. She's got tons of content for those of you who are in menopause, you are middle-aged, you are trying to get healthy, you are trying to be strong, you're trying to tone, slim down, etc. So go find Live with Carrie. But so Carrie went with me, and then our good friend, Miss Samantha Kitch, who's a recruiter. So the three of us girls and Ari made a trip down to Florida. And the truth is, I was really in need of disconnecting from work for a minute. It's interesting because I think we live in a culture where we feel like we need to explain, like, because as soon as I just said that to you, as soon as I said I needed to disconnect from work, my natural tendency was to immediately tell you why. My natural tendency, as soon as I said it, I thought, what I need to tell them, like I'm at 620 some podcast episodes, and I've been coaching nonstop for 10 years. And, we've got my business. Jason has his golf apparel business called Fairway Finance. We've got 2 VRBOs. So I feel like I'm playing travel agent half the time. Like, I feel like I need to tell them. But the truth is, I don't need to explain to you why I needed a break. And I want to get away from thinking that I need an explanation, and that will minister, I think, to someone. Because the truth is, as I can just say, I really needed a break from work, and I don't need to make a case with you, nor do you need to make a case with anyone else as to why you're feeling like you just need to step back for a minute. Okay. You just need to step back for a minute. So I told my team, I'm really needing to just take a step back from work. It's feeling like a slog right now. And when I feel, how do I put this? There is a holy conviction that I have about what God has me doing in this season to help other women get a breakthrough in their business so that they can change the impact and the income of their families. Okay. I know what income can do to families because this was our experience. I know what impact can do to families and, children and children's children. And so like, I know that God is calling me to minister to women via business in this season. And I take that very seriously. So then I also need to take very seriously, if I'm feeling like, it's a slog, like that's not good. If I'm feeling like it's really heavy, that's not good. If I'm feeling like I am not coaching to the greatest of my abilities, like that's not good. And so I know that I just knew that I needed to just take a step back. Okay. I also know that I have a really hard time disconnecting from my business. So this is why I can go to like our home in Florida to Bougie on the beach. I can sit on the beach for a week and sometimes still not come back feeling refreshed. Jason likes to joke that he can see a change in my countenance on the third day. After the third day, he's like, on the third day, she visibly shifts where, I think that everything just feels lighter. Everything feels less, heavy. I have ran a business, friends, and see, here's me feeling the need to like explain again, but for 25 years. And the thing with owning your own business is you rarely get time off. I mean, you don't. I remember when I had Ava and, I go right back to bidding jobs the next week. It's not like a corporate job where you're taking PDOs, where you have paid time off when you have babies and grief and things. And so I don't need to explain, but all I know is that I was feeling like I really need to kind of back off from work so that I can come back to work and really be excited and passionate and good, because I take my job seriously. So when I was talking to Nell, I was telling her what I really wish that I could do is just completely disconnect from work. And she's like, well, why can't you? And I'm like, I can't. She's like, well, why can't you? What do you need to stay connected to? And I'm like, well, I can't imagine getting off my email because I just, I don't like the idea of opening up my email and seeing, 500 emails if I've been gone for a week. Most of which, by the way, would be trash, right? But what if I miss something? What if I miss something? And part of the reason I'm sharing my story about last week with you is because some of you are wired like me, and you're what I have always referred to as an SRP. I talk about SRPs in my book, Fear is Not the Boss of You, but it's what I have nicknamed a super responsible person. So if you're an SRP, you know that you are. You're the type of people that you pay your bills early. You double check that you never miss a payment on your life insurance. You have been very mature from a very young age. Some of you were parenting your parents when you were a child. You have always taking your obligations very seriously. Like I know my best friend Rachel, she said to me once years ago, she said, she was talking to somebody about Jason and I having, 4 children. And she told them Jennifer takes her job as a mother just really seriously, which isn't to say that I'm not fun, which isn't to say that, I don't have a really great relationship with my kids or anything else. It just like, I have a real strong conviction that I've got my children under my influence for a very short amount of time, that God is essentially allowing me to raise them, and that he loves them more than I do. And, I take that all very seriously. So I take my responsibilities just in general really seriously. I'm not the type of girl who is willy-nilly, who, would stay all in bed all day just watching TV because I feel like when I have responsibilities, unless something is, really serious, I am going to do my best to fulfill those responsibilities. Some of you can really relate to that. You're an SRP. So when you look at that, and then let me just tell you to look at my inbox. So if I look at my inbox and it is full of emails, friends, I just get twitchy on the inside. I mean, I may be as cool as a cucumber on the outside, but on my inside, all I could think of is got to take care of this, got to take care of this, got to take care of this. Now, some of you may feel like that because you've always been a people pleaser. And so you feel like you need to make sure and respond to people super quickly. That's not actually why I'm doing it. Mine is more coming from the point of, if you've got emails that need to be open, then you open said emails. It's just that's the right thing to do. It's the responsible thing to do. And so I was telling Nell, okay, I can't get off email. And then I have Voxer and social media. Well, I don't want to get off social media while I'm gone, because then I can't also post to social media while I'm gone. And I love doing stories and things sometimes when I'm down at our house in Florida. And so, so I said, but the one thing I'd really like to get off of is Voxer. Now, for those of you who don't know, Voxer is like a walkie-talkie app. And I think I'm going to look real quick. If you'll just let me Google Jennifer Allwood podcast. Voxer. Let me see. I think I have a podcast on Voxer. Dun, 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 dun. Episode 370, I talk about Voxer being one of my favorite apps. So yeah, and it shows it about 9 minutes. I start talking about that. So you can go listen to episode 370 if you want to, but it's essentially a walkie-talkie app. Imagine like the audio version of your text messaging. However, way easier. You can play it back at 1, 2, 3, or 4 speed. You can do attachments. It's in real time. I love it. It's phenomenal. I started doing Voxer with my clients about 3.5 years ago. And we had sold a program that we have only sold once that we wanted to sell to 100 people. And I think it was a $3,000 program. We were selling it right before Christmas. And the bonus was if you bought before Christmas, or I think it was if you bought it all. I don't know, but you got Voxer access to myself and Nell and somebody else that was on my team at the time. And we wanted 100 people and we had 227 people buy. Okay, so how many of you know that having an audio thread, just imagine like a text thread with audio on Voxer for 227 people the 2 weeks before Christmas, that's a whole lot. The first week of having all those people on Voxer, I was on Voxer for over 40 hours. I was coaching for over 40 hours. Each individual person that week. Nell was on Voxer for over 60. Voxer is still my preferred like way to communicate with all of my team because it's faster than email. I can do it on the go. I can do it in the car. And so I still do a lot of coaching on Voxer and still talk to my team in Voxer. So, but then I also have like some personal friends, like my good, dear friend, Adrian Richardson and Carrie Rabina. Those are two of my best business buddies. We have a Voxer thread. We literally talk every day. So I told Nell, what I really want to do is get off Voxer for the first time in 3.5 years. She's like, do it. But I tried to tell her like, if I open up my phone though, and I look at it and I see that I have 27 Voxer notifications, 48 Voxer notifications, 267 Voxer notifications, like I can't not look at that. It'll just cause me so much anxiety. So she's like, Jennifer, just take the app off of your phone, just like remove it from your home screen. So I wasn't deleting everything. I was literally just removing it from my home screen. Okay. And I was like, okay, let me think about this. So her and I had this conversation on Friday. Ari and I went to Florida on Saturday. On Sunday, I took Voxer off of my home screen. All right. Friends, listen. I think that last week in Florida was the best week I've ever had in Florida. And we've owned our property there for 3 years. I have probably been there, I would say 30 times in 3 years. And it was the best week I think I've ever had there for many reasons, one of which was I was completely disconnected from something that was draining me of every ounce of hope and joy and peace that I had. My point of wanting to do a podcast and share this with you is not that I'm encouraging you to get off of apps. It's not that, or I'm encouraging you to get off of Voxer. My point is, I want you to really examine where you're feeling a lot of heaviness in your business, where you're feeling like I have to do something. I can't not do this, and really dig down to the reason of why. I also want you to understand yourself well enough to know if you are in fact a super responsible person or not, because I think that changes things in how you are able to disconnect. I really do. It's interesting because Nell, who's here on Team Allwood, Nell, her and I were messaging the other day. You guys, she had something like 20,000 emails in her inbox. Friends, I can't go to bed at night with even 10 in my inbox. Like I have to take care of things as I see them. It makes me so anxious to know that things are mounting up that are going to require my attention. And it's that things are mounting up. And it's also, what if I miss something? And, FOMO, it's also, what if somebody needs something quickly? It's also just that real strong burden of, if something needs to be done, I need to be doing it now. There is no time for delaying. And that just comes back to that super responsible person thing. If I was a betting girl, which I'm not, but if I was a betting girl in Vegas, I would bet that every single entrepreneur who's listening to me today has an area of your business that just causes you a lot of anxiety. It causes you a lot of pressure. You feel like you can't get away from it. And I want to tell you that I think that you actually can. You might just have to think about how you could get away from it. If I had left Voxer on my phone, friends, there is no way, literally no way, because I'm like an addict who is sitting, right next to a crack pipe. That's probably a terrible example, but it's the only one that came to my brain at the moment. It's like I'm sitting right next to the very thing that I'm addicted to. For most people, it's nearly impossible to not open an app when you already know that you are someone who, tries to under promise but over deliver. When you're someone who's super responsible, you can't handle seeing notifications, etc. So maybe you need to turn off the notifications on social media. Maybe you need to turn off the dings that happen every time you get a comment, a tweet, or something. Maybe you need to turn off the thing that shows you have a sale every day. Maybe you need to put some, I was going to say contraptions, not the word, but some parameters on your phone in terms of like how much time you allow yourself on social media. I know one of our kids has got an hour and a half parameter that they have set for themselves that they can spend on Instagram every day. They have deleted all their social medias. That's the only one that they're still on, giving themselves a limit so that they don't like waste time. When I look at my Instagram notifications, I feel the same way. Oh my gosh, I got to answer. Oh my gosh, I got to answer. Oh my gosh, I got to answer. When I see my DMs on Facebook, because they show up differently and it's not like a glaring number at me, I'm able to let those go for several days at a time. But what's getting rid of Voxer for 5 days, like, Monday through Friday, but also on the weekend. So I was without it for a full 7 days. It just cleared some clutter out of my brain. Because one of the things that I know to be true, and for some of you, you're going to get this visual. If you're a visual person, so you love color, you love DIY, you love homes, you love creative things, you love looking at art, you love looking at Play-Doh, you're tactile, you look at things. Like if that's you, you're going to understand this. Sometimes when I look at my phone, it's as though I'm being like pulled upon. I'm being pulled into conversations. I'm being pulled into platforms. I'm being pulled into my phone. My attention is being pulled in that direction. And the truth is like, I don't want to be ruled by that thing. I do not want to be ruled by my phone. And I don't know what the answer is because I don't even know what the question is. But I'm telling you, I felt like I was supposed to share this with you guys because being off of Voxer, just one thing for the whole week, allowed me to go, I was so disconnected. I was so chill. I mean, could have been the fact that I was with two girls instead of the whole family. I don't know. Could have been just that the weather was perfect, the water was perfect. I don't know, but I know that being off of Voxer was one piece of it, and I came back with ideas, deposits from heaven, so much more peace. Do you know the Bible says that we're to pursue peace? Which, if you just basically like Google the words, the word pursue signifies that there's going to have to be an intentional act. You're going to have to be intentional about getting some peace in your life. If the Bible says pursue peace, that means you're going to have to be intentional about going for peace. And at now 53, that's right, 53 years young. At now 53, like if it doesn't have peace written all over it, I just don't want anything to do with it. I don't. We've gotten rid of some things here at Team Allwood. Have dropped a couple programs. We are done a few things that are shifting, and we are really focusing heavily on our equipped software and our VA service because there's so much peace for me, the visionary, the one that owns it, the one that has to like stay, above ground in order for the company to exist, right? There's so much peace for me in those arenas. And this is not saying that I'm not enjoying being back on Voxer this week, because I actually, when you're off of something like that for 7 days, you come back with a whole new attitude. You're like, let's go, giddy up. But I was able to disconnect. I was able to relax. I came back with so many ideas. And I just want to encourage those of you listening, like, where do you need to disconnect from? What parameters, what boundaries do you need to put in your life? Because again, if I had left the Voxer app on my phone, I never would have been able to stay off of it. But it's like, this is exactly how I feel about sugar. Also, if Jason doesn't buy it, and I say Jason, and I blame him 1 bajillion%, and he would absolutely own this if he was here with me right now. I don't grocery shop. So when he goes to the grocery store and he comes on with Ben and Jerry's half baked, and he orders me chocolate, caramel, what are they called? Nut clusters, peanut clusters, or whatever. From my favorite chocolate store. And then he just grabs a bag of Hershey's Kisses the last minute. Like, I won't eat crap if crap is not here, but when it's here, you bet your bottom dollar I'm going to be partaking. And so when the apps are on my phone, you bet I can't not look. Maybe you are 20 years younger than me and have figured out some things about yourself. But I wish that I had really figured some of this stuff out so much earlier. I really do. Because I want to pursue the piece in this season. And I can guarantee you there are going to be more stretches of time when I just get off of things like Voxer. I've got to figure out a plan to be on social media even less, especially until we're after the election season, because there is nothing but divisiveness. We are in echo chambers of content, because that's the way social media is designed. It's designed for me to watch a video that is, an extreme right video, for instance, and then for my feed to be inundated and full of 10 other very right-winged videos that I didn't ask to be fed, but that's how the algorithm works. And so this is just making us more divisive, more like at odds with one another. And I'm going to pursue peace. So I'm going to leave you with that today. If you're watching here on YouTube, would you let me know below if there's something you maybe need to get off of and have a disconnection from for a while? I would love to know what that is for you. If you're just listening to this podcast on the regular podcast app that you normally go to, send me a DM on Instagram. I would love to know if you're a super responsible person, an SRP, and if there's something that you know in your know or you need to be disconnecting from so you can be more powerful and more at peace, let me know what that is. I am so rooting for you. I hope this was helpful for someone today. Bye-bye. Easton, did I say something about that's like me sitting next to a crack pipe and not smoking crack? Did I say that? I think it's possible that I said that, and I have no idea why on earth I would ever say that.